In the summer of 2019, American couple Ethan and Marissa Walsh moved to Staffordshire, England. Ethan had landed a teaching job at a local university, and Marissa, a freelance journalist, saw the move as a chance to reset. They rented a modest cottage just outside the forest edge of Cannock Chase, a peaceful, tree-covered area that locals called the lungs of the Midlands. It was supposed to be quiet, healing. It was supposed to be safe. At first, it was. The woods behind their home were filled with birdsong. The air was cool, earthy. Marissa would take walks alone while Ethan worked late. The locals were polite but reserved. One neighbor, an elderly woman named Joan, warned her gently, best to stay inside after dark, love. Some things here, they don't belong to the night. Marissa smiled and nodded, assuming she meant deer or foxes. But a week later, everything changed. It was just after 10 p.m. Marissa was in the kitchen finishing a glass of wine when she heard a soft knock at the window above the sink. Not a pounding. Just a polite tap-tap. At first, she ignored it. Probably a branch. Maybe the wind. Then it came again. She stepped to the window, flipped on the porch light, and saw a child standing just outside. Maybe 10 years old. Pale skin. Short hair. Wearing a strange gray tunic that looked almost outdated. His hands were pressed against the glass. Marissa opened the window an inch. "Are you lost?" she asked gently. The boy didn't answer right away. Then he said, slowly, "Can I come inside? I need to use your phone." Something about the voice made her skin crawl. It was flat. Too calm. Not scared. Not like a child alone in the woods should sound. Marissa blinked. Then noticed something else. The boy's eyes, entirely black. No whites. No irises. Just bottomless, ink-like voids. She slammed the window shut and drew the curtains. Her hands were shaking. The knocking didn't come again. When she told Ethan, he laughed it off. Some village kid pulling a prank. Probably some urban legend thing. Marissa didn't sleep that night. And when she went walking in the woods the next morning, she found something that nearly made her scream. In the center of the trail was a small footprint. Just one. Barefoot. And it was facing directly toward their house. Marissa tried to put it behind her, but the forest no longer felt safe. The trees seemed closer. The light dimmer. She started noticing other things too. Static on the radio during otherwise clear weather. Lights flickering. Her cat, Toby, refusing to go near the back door. One afternoon, while exploring an old railway trail that cut through Cannock Chase, she met a local hiker named Tom. He was grizzled, mid-60s, and walked with a carved wooden cane. He asked where she was from. When she mentioned the child at her window, he froze. "You saw them," he said, voice tight. "Black-eyed?" Marissa nodded. Tom leaned against a tree and said, "They've been seen here since the 80s. That's when the first reports came. Always kids. Always those eyes. They knock. They ask to come in. And if you let them in, you're never the same." She asked what he meant. He didn't answer. Just said, "They're not lost. They're looking." The same night, Ethan came home unusually late. He looked pale, sweaty, distracted. "You okay?" Marissa asked. "Just tired," he muttered. "Weird dreams lately. Don't remember them, but they keep waking me up." That night, Marissa woke to the sound of Toby hissing violently. She bolted upright. It was 3:17 a.m. From the bedroom window, she saw them. 3 figures standing at the edge of the woods, facing their cottage. Children. Still. Watching. Their eyes reflected no light. She woke Ethan, but by the time he got to the window, they were gone. The next morning, they found small handprints on the back door. On the outside. It hadn't rained. No one had visited. And the handprints were too small to belong to any adult. That's when Marissa knew this wasn't imagination. Something was out there. And it was getting closer. Marissa began researching. She found dozens of local blogs, police reports, and forum posts, all centered around Cannock Chase. All describing similar encounters. Children with black eyes. Cold voices. The insistence that they be allowed in. Most witnesses reported anxiety, paranoia, hallucinations afterward. Some had gone missing. Others had nervous breakdowns. One name kept coming up, Margaret Redshaw. Margaret had once been a schoolteacher. Her encounter in 1987 had been the first to hit local newspapers. Marissa drove out to the village of Brockton to meet her. Margaret was now nearly 80, living alone in a care home. Her mind was fragile, but her memory of that night was not. "They asked to come in," she said. "2 of them. Staring up at my bedroom window like they'd climbed the wall. I told myself it was a nightmare. But in the morning, my dog was gone. And my husband, he started hearing things. Voices in the radio. Whispers in the shower." "What do they want?" Marissa asked. Margaret's eyes locked with hers. They want inside. Not just your home. Inside you. Marissa left shaken. When she got home, she found Ethan in the kitchen, staring blankly at the kettle. Ethan? He turned. His eyes were normal, but empty. Like he hadn't slept in days. I think I let one in, he whispered. Marissa froze. What do you mean? Last night. You were asleep. I heard knocking. I thought it was a kid. I just opened the door a little. Just a crack. He fell silent. That night, Ethan screamed in his sleep. He scratched at the walls. He wept in his pillow, muttering things Marissa didn't understand. In the morning, he couldn't remember any of it. But he was no longer the same. His smile felt wrong. His eyes didn't track her the way they used to. And sometimes, when the room was quiet, Marissa swore she heard two voices speaking from his mouth at once. The cottage had become a tomb. Ethan barely spoke. Toby had run away. Marissa hadn't slept in 3 nights. The children came every night now. First 1. Then 3. Then 5. She would see their faces pressed against the glass. Sometimes they whispered her name. Sometimes they just waited. She tried to move out. Packed her bags. Called an Uber. But the car never arrived. Roads blocked. GPS scrambled. It was like the house wouldn't let her leave. Desperate, she visited Joan, the elderly neighbor. Joan had been watching her house from a distance. They chose you, Joan said softly. And once they choose you, there's no going back. They need permission. They need an opening. You let them in through fear. Through doubt. Through grief. Marissa begged for a way out. Joan handed her an old iron key and a small book of folk prayers. If you want to survive, you have to face them. Name them. Refuse them. But you must not, under any circumstances, let them touch you. That night, Marissa waited with every light off. At exactly 2:33 a.m., the knocking began. Front door. Then kitchen window. Then bedroom wall. Voices called out. It's cold out here. We're hungry. Let us in. Marissa clutched the key, whispered the prayers. Her hands trembled. Then Ethan came to the hallway. His face expressionless. His eyes pitch black. It's okay, love, he said. You don't have to be scared anymore. I let them in. The front door opened by itself. And one by one, the children stepped inside. Marissa ran. Through the woods. Through mud and branches and shadows that reached for her. She didn't stop until she collapsed at the edge of the village, gasping and sobbing in the morning light. They say she never fully recovered. She moved back to the US but never gave interviews. Her story leaked anyway. Reddit threads. Podcasts. Paranormal forums. The cottage on Cannock Chase is still there. Ethan was never found. Sometimes, hikers still report seeing children in the trees. Pale skin. Silent. Watching. And when night falls, if you're very quiet, you might hear the soft knock on your window. Asking politely. Waiting patiently. To be let in.